Days in Fallujah is finally out into early access. I am no longer under NDA and I can officially talk about this game. In this video I'm going to be covering what 6 Days in Fallujah is and should you be buying it. It currently retails for $39, so also is that price worth it? You're going to find out in this video from my very unbiased opinion. Although I was given early access to the game, my views are not swayed by this and it will be my honest opinion. So what is 6 Days in Fallujah? Well, it is a tactical first-person shooter and a very realistic one at that. It is set depicting scenes from the Second Battle of Fallujah back in 2004, so it is based on a real-world scenario, and it has tried to stay true to that as much as possible. The whole idea behind 6 Days in Fallujah, it was conceived by a US Marine sergeant named Eddie Garcia. He was blown up by a mortar during the Second Battle of Fallujah within just the first few months of the battle, so the whole thought of making a game on this is done by an actual Marine. And during the development they have had over 100 Marines and soldiers from the US and the UK, as well as 28 Iraqis, including the Deputy Prime Minister of Iraq, working to help develop this game, giving their own accounts and giving their own thoughts on combat situations, realism, etc, etc. You can play in teams of up to 4 through online co-op, and there is no multiplayer PvP. So as I mentioned, the game retails for $39, but what do you actually get for those $39? Well, to start with, there are 4 different combat scenarios currently in the game, whether it be getting to pin down enemies under sniper fire, where the rules of engagement can't allow you to take out that sniper, or clearing compounds from mortar fire and RPG fire, so your AAVs and your helicopters can clear through the compounds. This doesn't sound like a lot of gameplay, but when you pair it with one of the biggest selling points of this game, and that is procedurally generated areas, it becomes quite different. No matter what you do, how many times you do it, the procedurally generated environments will make sure every experience is different. You'll have different building layouts, you'll have different objectives, you'll have different mortar positions, you'll have different AI positioning and different AI difficulties as well. I've noticed that throughout my time playing, some AI will just be out in the open and not really paying attention to their surroundings, and some AI will really try and flank you hard, hide in dark corners inside buildings, and really try and get the jump on you. So it is varied and it makes for a really intense combat. You will 100% need to use your team and use team play to survive in this game. It is very difficult. It only takes a couple of rounds to hit you for you to be incapacitated and die, and it is very, very hard to go solo. You can play solo, but it is extremely difficult, and there are no AI-based teammates at the moment. They are coming, but they are not ready at the minute. So if you are going in solo, it will just be you, and taking out 30 or 40 enemy insurgents just to get to a compound building where you need to take a flag off a roof will be extremely difficult to do single-handedly when you've got to keep your head on a swivel constantly for flanking AI. Because AI are constantly moving and constantly flanking, you're going to need to be clearing out buildings as you go to get towards the main building or your objective. So clearing out buildings is also really difficult. They could be ruined houses, they could be large complexes. Either one, you are going to need to clear every room and clear it thoroughly. You'll also find like weapon depots and stuff like that which you can destroy to make it easier for your team to progress and your AAVs to move around the map without getting destroyed. The only problem is you are never used to clearing these buildings, not only through the procedurally generated interiors and exteriors, but also because you're going from dark to light to dark to light. These buildings have no lights on, they are very dark, you need to use your flashlight. And then when you come outside, obviously, it's Iraq. It's an arid environment. You're going to have really bright sun. It can honestly really throw you going from dark to light, dark to light, dark to light constantly. And also, there's a very good dynamic lighting system, not only with the sun, but also you've got dust that kicks up if you're firing a load of shots in narrow corridors, or if you put a grenade into a room, it will be dusty. Dust will kick up and it will stay there for a while. So you've got reflectiveness off of the dust from your flashlight or from the sun rays going through the window. It becomes a very hard environment to see in and an even more intense environment to fire in. There isn't a lot of weapon variety or customization because of the time zone set. You do, however, have 4 team roles that your team can pick up. You have the team leader, which carries the M16 and an ACOG scope with an M203 grenade launcher on it. You got the rifleman role. He also has an M16 with an ACOG scope. And you've got the gunner, who has an M249 saw, but also a handgun for those closer quarters encounters. and you got the gunner assistant who carries an M16 with no ACOG, just iron sights, but he has a shotgun as backup. Along with the procedural generation being really good, the thing that impressed me the most throughout my time playing is the audio system. Now, of course, there is some bugs and some features that should be implemented to make the audio system even better, but the whole VoIP system between you and your team is incredible. VoIP is always on, so if you're in a local proximity, you're always able to talk to each other. So you will need to turn off Discord and just play through the game's audio for a true immersive experience. But if you are further away, then you can press your push to talk button and it will activate radio comms. This will allow you to clear floor by floor, but allow you to take the whole building as a team and still be able to communicate. Or if some of you are taking one building and a couple of you are taking the next, it will allow you to communicate seamlessly no matter where you are in the hostile environments. The problem with this though at the minute is there is voice clipping. Sometimes it can cut in and out and sound quite horrible. Not all the time, but they are working on it. It is a known issue, and all the known issues are actually logged on their website, and it can show you what they're working on, which is a great thing in my opinion. Another thing which I've suggested to them is a noise gate feature, so you're able to talk to people but not hear the clickety clacks of someone's mechanical keyboard or your own voice through their headphones coming through as a repeating thing. It's very minimal, but you can hear each other's games and each other's voices through your headphones because there is no noise gate. So any tiny pickup, depending on people's microphone choices, can be picked up in the game, can be quite awkward at times. Doesn't ruin the immersion too much, but is something that I would like to see implemented just to make it sound a little bit more crisp. Performance as a whole on this game is also really good. I haven't had many drops, many stutters, but when I do, it's pretty constant. Recently, I've been experiencing more and more stutters, and I don't know whether that is because of server load or not, but I have been getting rubber banding, especially when vaulting over low objects inside or outside buildings. You'll notice that when you vault through a window rather than breaching through a door, your character wouldn't land the jump but like teleport 5 feet in front of you or teleport 5 feet back. It's a weird one, and I don't know why there is rubber banding issues, but there currently is, and I'm sure it will be worked on. But server stability as a whole, pretty good. There will be some crashes, it is early access, it's to be expected, but it's nothing out of this world and major. I'm certainly not getting a crash every single game. I'm certainly not getting crashes to my desktop. It's only the server will lock up and boot everyone back to the lobby and stuff like that. But it doesn't happen too often, so that's good. But it does happen, so bear that in mind. Until recently, also, there was no FOV slider, so it did feel really claustrophobic. Now, with the FOV slider and head bobbing toggle, it's made the game feel so much nicer for me, who suffers with motion sickness with low FOVs. It's a lot better to play. Just bear that in mind, turn that FOV, crank it up, it looks a lot better, trust me. But is the game worth that $40 price tag? Well, if you ask me, it all depends on your personal thoughts on this style of game. It's very slow, very slow. There is a time limit to keep you moving, but you can't just push through a building, you can't go lone wolf, you really have to team play. And if you haven't got friends to play with, then I wouldn't say get it yet. There's no AI, there's nothing like that to keep you grounded. You'll either be going in alone or matchmaking with randoms, and that's not always a good experience, as everyone knows through online gaming. But if you do have a friend and you do like games like Ready or Not and slower paced tactical shooters, and you like the setting that this game is in, it could be worth the $40. I don't think there's enough here yet, but with the roadmap that they have provided, there's tons of things coming, and if they stick by it, and if they keep making fixes and keep making the improvements, there is definitely a very, very good base here for a very successful game. I'm having a ton of fun playing it. I didn't have to pay for the game, but I'm having a ton of fun playing it. People that have played the game and paid for it and played with me have also enjoyed the game as well. There is a very rich environment here, very hard hitting, it's very rough, and it'll give you PTSD if you're that way inclined. It's a very rough environment and a very challenging game. If you like that, you will like this game. If you like the setting and slower paced shooters, you will definitely like this game. The sound design is something to behold in of itself, but if you are one of those people that prefer playing on your own and playing with AI, and you want a bit more to it rather than the 4 missions where you go into a complex, take a flag off a roof, hold off a ambush for your convoy to be safe, or clear out mortar fire from a roof, you're basically constantly going to be clearing buildings, and that is the primary focus of this game. So bear that in mind. It is a very structured game. There is a very niche to this game. You know, they've took a niche and made a niche of that niche, and that is what is good about the game in my opinion, but is not going to be everyone's cup of tea. Early access is said to only last just over a year, and the roadmap for the future development in early access is quite full on. They're looking to add more cooperative missions, different types of weather, more times of day, including night raids as well, and we all love a night raid, and different enemy types. You're also going to have AI teammates. Now, these are not quite implemented yet, but in the NDA version of the game that us creators got to play, there was an option to turn on AI teammates. I do miss that little spider button where you can customize your games, but hey ho, it is what it is. It's random all the time. That's fine. But yeah, AI teammates are coming back, and you will be able to use them once they're implemented properly, and they will respond to the team leads, go commands, stuff like that. Civilians are coming as well to make it even harder. You can't just shoot anything that moves. You have to really pick your targets. There will be hostages probably in different buildings. It's going to be pretty crazy, pretty full on. You'll also be able to play as an Iraqi soldier fighting Al-Qaeda, and that's also fun, telling a different side of the story. There's also going to be different special operators from real world soldiers, and they will have unique weapons, unique gear, unique vehicles, etc. And of course, you've got initial story campaign missions. A campaign is coming, and they will start working on this during early access as well. A lot to come in just a year of development, but take that whole year of development with a pinch of salt anyway, as you do with any game companies, because you know, things happen, things get delayed, things get scrapped, etc, etc. As mentioned, the game is a lot of fun. Do I recommend you picking it up? Honestly, yes, I do. But you've got to take that with how you experience these types of games. There's not really anything else like it, but if you don't really like the tactical, slow-paced games, you're not going to like this one. As simple as that. But if you do like slower-paced tactical shooters, and where you've got to clear and be very particular about what you do, what you don't do, sacrifice things, you know, you can't clear every single building in the timeline you got, so you're going to have to make really split-second decisions on where to go, what route to take, etc, etc. And you've also got to work as a team really, really heavily. So if you are all about that team play, you'll love this game. If you're not quite all about that team play, then maybe keep an eye on this game and see where it goes. But other than that, thank you so much for watching. That's my basic review on this game as it's just come out into early access. If you've already bought it, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. If you're looking to buy it, let me know what you think as well. Any questions, let me know down below in the comments and I'll answer them there. But other than that, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.